Okay, so this is the December 2023 Web Dev SIG. George, what are you having for lunch?
I planned ahead and I finished my Chipotle burrito just about 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. Yeah, but I've still got
Excellent.
my big thing of lemonade that you can't see because the. So
Okay,
yes,
so
I did have lunch and I just finished it moments ago.
Thank you. Now we've got the subtitle out of the way, so now we can move on to actual topics. So Janice, can you explain what you were saying before we started the recording again?
You know, on the home page, you got your left pane, the right pane, and the middle. And over in the left pane, I had a link where I had created like a FAQ page. And when they moved all of that to the tools, it shifted all my stuff down to the bottom. So it's like when you go to the page, it's like an error message, but then you can scroll down and then you'll see all my HTML stuff. And so I did a ticket and they told me I needed to create that page within the tools, but I don't know what I need to call it.
I see Lucas making thoughtful faces, like he knows what this is about. You know, Lucas.
Lucas is nodding like he understands what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're missing a news item,
Okay.
right? Does that sound right to y'all? But that's just my guess.
Yeah,
So I
without
can share
being
my
able to see your
screen.
screen, it's hard to determine what's going on.
Yeah. And my server
Let
did have to
me-
go down today.
Okay, so this
And
is the
then I'm in
homepage
the
you're talking
process
about.
of migrating to Bywater hosting us. So that's not completely correct yet. And so everything I could show you is not working right now.
So this is my homepage on my test server. So you're talking about this left column here.
No, like go to your homepage. That the
Oh,
outside
for
world sees.
the public
For the
facing
OPAC?
one. Yeah, mine's not going to be helpful there because mine's all wacky.
What it can help me a little bit. Scroll down, like so, right up under my search bar. I still have like the left pane, middle pane, and the right pane. And in the
Okay.
left pane, I have some links, like quick links, like research at the archives, research requests, and then I did a FAQ page, and it's just straight HTML.
Okay.
And it was just linking straight to the HTML.
Okay, so you're missing
so
something
now
over here on the left.
Yeah. So now that everything has been moved into tools and you know you have your different pages that you create within the news. Yeah. Here.
So this is
I didn't
where
know
you're at.
like the location and all of that. Like what do I call it?
So I think I don't know. Is it OPAC nav, Lucas, that would show that?
OPAC nav or OPAC nav bottom will show content on the OPAC main page, left side. OPAC nav right will show it on the right side.
I would like it to show in the middle.
And Janice, you in the middle would be OPAC main user block.
Okay.
Did you already create this piece of content, Janice?
I have.
Through HTML customizations or through
Well, no, I just did a straight HTML page because at the time I just had a link to a page on my server.
I see. So
and I just need to create that page within news, but I didn't know what I need to call it for it to appear in the center.
Yeah, and you actually don't want to. News is sort of the old place where it used to live, and news still exists for other things, but what you want is HTML customizations.
Oh, HTML customizations. Okay.
And then you want to make sure you mark the location of that as OPAC main user block if you want it in the center of the page. And it looks like you already have an OPAC main user block with content, so you can either create a second one or add whatever content you have to your existing OPAC main user block.
When my server comes back up, I'll give it a try. Thank you. quick question. When we migrate, like I said, we're in the process of migrating for Bywater to host us. So when we get everything together, that was, once I create this HTML customization, it won't change. It will stay the same. Or will I need to make some more changes?
It should stay the same. And
Okay.
all that stuff lives in your database. So when you move, everything should be moved correctly.
Okay. All right, thank you. Another question.
Yep, go ahead, please.
Is it hard to change the formatting of your homepage from the 3 columns to something else?
The OPAC homepage.
Yes.
If you do not have a left side, so if you do not have an OPAC nav and an OPAC nav bottom, no content, just those don't exist, it will be automatically become a 2-column layout with your OPAC main user block and the OPAC nav right, but also some other co-op content lives on that right side, the login box. So if you wanted to change it more than that, you can make that 2-column layout happen by eliminating OPAC nav bottom. If you want to continue messing with those columns, you likely need some JavaScript and a little bit of knowing about Bootstrap classes and how to swap one class for another.
Okay. Thanks.
So other burning questions or cool stuff people have been working on?
I really just came to see what progress you've made on the kids' OPAC, really.
Oh, I haven't touched it in months.
Oh man, that's what we're all
But
here
it's still
for.
there. I got some feedback on it at my latest users group, and I haven't acted on that, but one of the ideas was to branch limit it by default, which I'd like to try and do with a cookie. And then they also wanted the advanced search back, which I took away. I weeded that one out. So some sort of kid-friendly advanced search page is on my to-do list, but I haven't done anything on either of those ends yet. But I have gotten good feedback. I've got 2 libraries like formally testing it, but I opened it up to all my libraries to say it's there and you can use it if you want. And so far it's been really positively received by our patrons. I guess I can share what I have been working on is fighting with notices and things some more. So I was trying to get my overdues thing fixed up. I can share my screen again. And I just keep getting distracted away from it, so a little progress. But I did get it to, I did a test in my live server so that I had a notice in the database to play with. So it doesn't look great on this screen. I can't do anything on the screen because of this screen. It looks okay when I send it in email. I was gonna show that and I had it pulled up, but I lost it.
There's a trick to getting around that print interface. If you go ahead and print that notice again, however you were doing it, that window you just closed, yeah. Oh, maybe it's a Firefox only way to do that.
Well, on this, it's janky together by my own code. So I just got rid of the close option, like in the JavaScript, so it stayed open when I close the print box.
Oh, okay.
But I know what you're talking about because I was doing it with the hold slips earlier, where like if you paste
get the
this
URL
URL into another tab, then you don't have to you can fiddle with it without the print dialog. But yeah. So this is what the message looks like in the email, which looks okay. I was all right with that. But then I lost some of my formatting when I was trying to print it directly using the report, and I'm still sort of fighting with it because it doesn't want to wrap this inside my div, so it's shrinking all the text to make it fit. And I've not spent too much time. I think I can CSS my way out of that if I spend enough time on it. But let's see. Over here, I was using the overdue slip to test things initially, and I got it looking how I really wanted it to look over here. And then I realized a lot of the styles that are coming in on that are like native to Koha, I guess, and so it's not getting copied over into the style sheet here, so I need to rebuild some of that. The other thing I was struggling with was sorting, because it sorts by issue ID, which is fine. That usually makes it chronological, but if I'm gonna have a clerk shelver do a shelf check on this, like they want to check the shelf first, they're gonna really hate me if the call number is not what it's sorting on. So I was able to bring in data tables on this notice and make it sort on that column. But I haven't gotten that rebuilt into this yet or figured out how to do that. And I tried really hard to make the template toolkit sort it for me, and I got lost and couldn't figure that out at all. But the data table works if I can get it ported over to this part of it.
Well, it looks like the data on that table, like the title and the due date and the barcode and the cost are all running into each other. Does
Yeah,
that
I lost
actually?
I lost formatting, and I lost formatting at this stage too. So, but when it goes in the email, it's fine. Like
Okay.
it kept enough of the formatting that it's not overlapping anything there. It's because I chose to use a table, and I shouldn't have. I should just list them out, and that would make everything easier. But I wanted to make it like a page that's a letter in most cases. So I'm making progress, and I think if I beat my head against it long enough, it'll turn out how I actually want it.
What I found helps a lot with the print notice, the notices, is to specify a page size in the CSS somewhere in the actual
Yeah, and
document.
I put 8.5 inches on the div, like its body, and then the main div is 8.5 inches, but it's not limiting for some reason. So I'm still working on that. I also want to make it so that when you hit that print button, you're getting one page per page, like so that there's a page break after every notice. So that if there's multiple notices that day, all they have to do is hit print and it shoots out the notices, and all they have to do is put it in an envelope, like with a window. They don't have, because right now they're getting that fallback email from me, from Koha, and then they're having to reformat all that so that it fits in their envelope, and it takes up a lot of staff time that really doesn't need to happen if I can get it formatted right.
Right. I only have one library that is that actually sends the notices as mail if they don't go out otherwise. And what I do is I just put like a bit of, I think it just says .page at the bottom of every notice. And then the library that does that puts all the text files that they get in their email into a Word document, and then I built a macro for them that just formats everything. So it's like 2 steps for them to copy and paste everything and then run the macro, and then it prints perfectly. So
Lucas put something in chat. I will give that a try.
Yeah, that whole page. as a bunch of maybe useful CSS to try.
Jason, were you able to look at that plugin? Because I think also that the plugin that we use, I think, does a similar thing. Like it breaks up it puts a whole table of all the overdues, and then when you print, it like uses the template that you want to use and separates it into pages and prints them all on separate pages. So even I don't know if it would have some of the markup in the plugin, or at least in the maybe in the notice I can look.
I definitely installed it, and I definitely ran it once, and then I got distracted probably.
No.
The plugin is good if you're doing overdues. If you're
For
trying to
overdues,
print
yeah.
any other type of notice, it's not helpful.
It doesn't work. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, overdues are my main use case here at this
Overdues
point.
and bills, it works good on, right? We use it for bills.
So, okay, here's my, I guess I'm gonna have to edit this out because it's got personal information, but, so I got this far with it where it's like a table. So you're saying,
Now, if you when you print, like the default is like there's certain tags on that table where it will it doesn't include the table when you print. There's like
So
a
is there
no
like a-
print tag. So I think maybe when you run the plugin there, you have to choose the notice there that you want the data to go into. And then when you print, it takes the data from that table and puts it into that notice. There was, let me check my template, because I think when it was Kyle who helped set us up on using that plugin, and we had to use some markup special in the template. Maybe I can copy mine.
And I don't know this for sure, but I think you're seeing nothing, Jason, because you don't have anything defined in your print template.
well, like these?
Yeah.
Mm, don't look at how many templates I have. That's embarrassing. It's a project. So my overdue, that's my overdue first notice is that. So overdue first notice. I'm gonna put that page and number in there. Nothing.
Do you have to have a print notice to find? Because you only looked to see it, you only looked at the
Oh,
email.
maybe
Yeah,
that's
that's what I
it.
think you need the print one defined.
Yeah, I think it needs to be in the print. Yeah.
Well, let me define it. Okay.
Yeah, and then like you can use styles to like change the margins and stuff like that.
That is interesting. I think that might work for me. That might save me some headaches. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what that was like a really big deal for us when we migrated to get that set up. And once it was set up and they could print them and fold it so the address fits in the window of the envelope, they were really happy about that.
What's the name of that plugin?
It's called the
Overdue notice printer.
Patron overdue notices is what I've got. actually. That's what it's listed as in my plugins.
I think it's the one at the link I just put in the chat box.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I got something, it's just kind of random, but something that I was kind of working on, learning the Bootstrap classes and like what is available. So I can share my screen, I think. See what would be this one. Can you guys see the screen here? Okay, so it's this little button here that I put, and it's like a sidebar that comes out. So this is a modal, so it like disables the main page and only lets you kind of look in the sidebar, and then you can go back. You can open and close it like this. But the data that comes in here, it's from the additional page content. So the idea is like you could create this content here, and I just pasted in like a Bootstrap kitchen sink that I got from somewhere that had like a bunch of Bootstrap classes and things like that. And whatever your name or whatever you name in the title, it will pull that in to the title of the bar, and like whatever content you put on this custom page will show up there. So it'll be like easily editable by the user, kind of thing. I still kind of want to work on it. I did try to make it with like accessibility from like the keyboard perspective in place. Like, so if you're here, you can tab to that button, hit enter, and then you can tab and hit enter to close it. So it's kind of that's about as far as I sort of got on it. It works more or less with if you do like, it's sort of responsive to smaller page sizes, except it kind of doesn't work on the real mobile size, but like tablet size, I think this will be. I don't know, iPad. Oops. It looks somewhat okay, I guess, on a tablet size. So I guess maybe, I don't know why, if you go to like a phone size, it kind of like doesn't look good, or it goes off the screen on the really small sizes. But the like medium size and up screen is kind of okay. And yeah, that's all. I
That's
can show
really
you
cool.
the code too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's brilliant. I want this.
Oh, cool. Oh, I still need to do a little bit more like work on it before I'll post it somewhere. But it's sort of simple. Basically, it's like add this HTML, which kind of is the structure for that modal pop out. With I chose to like do a lot of the styling just in the HTML inline, just because I figured it'll be easier to kind of know what's styling what. And I'm just used to that. I'm just kind of used to using like classes. So inline styles is kind of like using classes. And then this is where it adds the button. to the menu bar. And then this is the part that, oh, I'm there. Can you see the screen with the code? So it adds the button to the menu bar and then sets up. So this is the part where you would have to set. So you would set whatever page you created in the custom page. You just set that variable. And then this is the part that loads the whatever the title of your page is. It loads that into like the header of that sidebar, and whatever the content of that HTML gets loaded into the content part. And that's there's one other part, I guess. There is a little bit of CSS that I had to add to get the animation to work. So this part I did not know how to do as inline CSS, but this makes the modal, like the default Bootstrap modal is just kind of, I think it falls down from the top of the screen and it just is centered. So this part makes that animation slide out from the side. So
do you know what kind of content do you envision?
I was like, what I really wanted to, like, the next level, I think, would be for it to somehow be like context aware of whatever like page route you're on in Koha. It could know that. It could know what branch you're logged into. And then it displays information that's relevant to you, like links to the documentation about the module that you're in, or like maybe just like if for your library, certain like policies or workflow like guides that are relevant to where you are and something like that. But that's
Cool.
really, it's flexible, I guess, in that you could, this is just for one, it just kind of puts this generic button here and loads the one page that you made. But like, I guess like the long-term thing, you could be more like pull in information that's relevant to where you are instead of just have a one-off one. Would be cool.
The first thing that I thought of when I saw this is, wouldn't it be awesome if the help button worked that way? I mean, because when you click on the help button, it takes you out of Koha completely. So wouldn't it be awesome if the clicking the help button just brought up that content in a modal, in a side-loaded modal, instead of taking you out to a different page completely? I'm sure that that would be more difficult to engineer because it's getting content from somewhere else on the internet outside of Koha. But that would be an awesome way for the help data to be loaded into Koha.
I think that it would work because it's like where is it? Internet user JS. The jQuery that actually loads the page. I believe this load function will literally just get whatever it can find from the internet. If it's like a public page like the Koha manual, it would just pull it in, I think.
Yeah.
The only thing I see there is that load is happening every time you change pages.
Every time. Yeah. So you have to put that. I could put this only when you hit the button somehow or something.
Yeah, or maybe see about caching some of that.
Yeah. So with caching, where would you would store it in the user's browser storage?
Local storage, maybe?
Yeah.
Just something to prevent it from every time you switch pages to be loading that content.
Yeah.
I don't know how resource intensive that would be, but
yeah, that makes sense. So maybe it should only so right now, as it's written, it's doing it it's doing this every time. Everything inside this function.
Which I think that's okay to do every time. That's not going to take a very long at all. But loading from another external page is might.
Yeah. So this part I should put like in an event listener for the button or something.
You could try that. I would wonder how then what would happen if you click the button, how long it would, because then the user might experience like the loading. How you have it now, it's loading when it's not
visible
displayed, so you don't see anything loading, which is nice like for that. But
yeah,
if it was in an on click, you might watch it load a little bit. Maybe that's
yeah.
okay.
And then these pages, like when you go to the actual page, I guess, like this page, yeah, like it, I mean, it seems like it loads pretty fast. I don't have a lot of stuff in here, I guess, but I wonder, like, is this how is this stored in the, is it stored in the database as HTML? So it's kind of like, it doesn't have to like generate the page too much.
Yeah, I mean, if all you're doing is loading HTML, it's probably all right.
Yeah. Oh,
One, if it's
do
on
you
the
guys have
same
any
server.
ideas about this?
Well, if it's just coming from the Koha server, it's probably going to be pretty fast. I think if it was doing something like getting the documentation from outside of Koha, that could slow it down for sure. But I think it's really cool. It's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to stop sharing.
If we ever got that bug about your favorite reports, that would be a fun thing to put up there.
Yeah, my thought was training materials as well. Like one thing that I've wanted to do in the OPAC for a long time is have like just in time little videos, like this is how you place a hold near the place hold button, that sort of thing. So that's a nice presentation of a way to do that. So I like that a lot.
I have a question about Google Analytics code. Where should it reside within the system?
Google
administration?
Analytics for your OPAC pages,
Yes.
and you want it to aggregate statistics on every page in the OPAC.
Yes.
I am typically putting that in OPAC credits. So what we were just talking about at the beginning, the HTML customization, I would typically like put all the things that Google tells you to put in there, and label it Google Analytics, and then it will make sure it's hitting every page on your OPAC.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where mine's at as well. I've got it set up and running, so
Thank
I
you.
can confirm that works.
I got you with HTML customizations, pages, and news is always put a publication date on there,
Okay.
or else it doesn't display, and that could be particularly troublesome when you're dealing with something like Google Analytics, which doesn't display anyway. So it does not need an expiration date, but it does need a beginning date.
Okay.
Checkout question. So we are trying to help out our super users who are being really slowed down on the self-checkouts. We're wondering if there's something we can do with the actual display that will help speed it up, or if it's something more on the back end, but we have a couple options that we're looking at. I'm going to paste one. It's a patch. I'm going to paste it in the chat. So that is the more button that doesn't load everything right away. And then the second option would be, we were looking at here, let me share my screen for this one. We were looking at doing share. Okay. Let me grab. Yeah. Let me grab the barcode first. Copy. So we were looking at maybe putting excess checkouts in a different tab instead of on the front page. So this is our self-checkout. So instead of loading them all here, maybe put them in this tab instead. Is it possible to kind of backport those over or like make that more of an archival spot since we don't actually use fees here? And we're wondering if that would help us speed it up at all.
I think the problem there is that if Koha is loading that, we can move it to another tab after it's loaded, but that doesn't really help your performance problem.
Okay. It's probably more about the data on the account itself then. Okay, that's what I was worried about.
Yeah, and
If
that's
anyone has any ideas, that would be helpful. Because we have a user checkout limit of 200, and some people that actually use that are being really, really slowed down, so.
I think the first bug that you mentioned is gonna help immensely.
Okay,
Which looks like it's gonna be in 2305.
great. Okay, that's worth a shot then.
The other thing, and this is not anything to do with like the number of checkouts or history, is just some of your images and stuff could be also cached.
Yeah,
Try
okay.
local storage.
Yeah, compressing that a little. All right, well, those are all worth a shot. Thanks.
Little Stack Overflow link there on getting and setting local storage.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Other project questions, etc. Curiosities. Fun stuff you've done or want to do. I made Migra run away. He's disappeared. I guess I can mention one thing. Had a conversation with Kelly about adding barcodes to slip templates earlier, like between the last meeting and this one, and then like a few days later, I had that same question from someone else. So I can share. It's easy to do with Template Toolkit. What and I just took it off of the wiki actually. I didn't actually prepare for this, but let's see. I just put it in my hold slip recently for testing. And it's just a little line of code that generates an image using the card number. The one on the wiki uses the old syntax. You can replace that with borrower.card number to do the same thing. And you could also do that with an item barcode if you wanted. And I had something. Where was I doing that at?
It
See, this
seems
is how
like
I
the
get
instructions on
distracted.
the wiki also will show you how to do it in different fonts, different barcode fonts, right?
Maybe. I was just looking at the templates in general.
Is there anything about QR codes?
Yeah, I think you can use QR codes,
Okay.
but I think the instructions are in this in the SQL library, not in the. Maybe that's.
Oh.
And you can get the barcodes you want and the HTML you want just by going to Koha and it's like, I think it's tool. No, it got moved. It's cataloging and then cataloging tools, barcode image generator. And you can just go test generation of different barcodes. QR codes
here's
is one of them.
Yeah. And this is information George was talking about. I'll put that in chat as well.
Yeah, I think if you
If you
can use
already
any of
have it
those, I think you can use any of those fonts that are listed there in that table.
We currently have our barcode coming out. You know, we use a scanner, check out, and it comes out in the barcode, and I just put the link, the barcode generator link in the chat that we use.
I have one other thing to share, and this one is something I got the idea from George a while back. I think it came up at the conference in New Hampshire, but I can share my screen.
I hate it when people say they got ideas from me. It means they actually listen to me.
All right, well, let me try to do this again. Oops, share this one. So this one is for using the USPS post office API for verifying an address. So I added some jQuery to add like these buttons here in the when you edit a patron account. So if you go to a patron account and you click, you'll see this button, verify address. Well, this is before let me just let's look. Okay, this is the way it would look when you click edit the patron. If you click verify address, this address is not found. That's all it does right now. But if I do like 401 Main Street, INS, let's leave the zip code. I think it should be able to tell you that the zip code's wrong as long as I give it enough information like the state. So right there, it cleans the address and outputs the clean version of the address that the USPS API returns. And then it the next step I didn't really do yet, but I was just kind of experimenting. It highlights the parts of the address that you need to check. So like anything that's different right now, but the USPS, they prefer like all caps. So I guess it would sort of depend on what you want to have in your database, but this would be the way that it would want it to show. But if you do, let's see if I have like the right zip code, but the wrong state, let's say California, it will say, oops, it is a little bit buggy, I think, my code. It works sometimes, but maybe the second time is a little screwy, but let me try to do this again. INS 02601. So if I put in a realistic address, but the wrong state, it should say address not found. Oh, I thought it was going to give me sometimes if you get the zip code wrong, let's try the zip code wrong, not found. I forget exactly what it was replying with before. And sometimes I think the API just kind of stops working or blocks. like blocks me or something because I'm using localhost. But sometimes I can show the code, but there's one part of the code that I can't show that has the credentials in it. But basically, I had to look at like the documentation and then like parse these kind of replies, add the buttons, and yeah. So that's something I'm hopefully working on more, but it's kind of frustrating sometimes. The API seems to like block you.
What does it take to get the credentials? Is it
So
is it an expense or?
No, it's free. You just have to like go to the website, but there's like the terms and conditions are that you are only using it on a transactional basis, not doing any batch processing. So like you're really supposed to use it only when you're like verifying an address for shipping purposes. So like that falls under like if we're mailing out bills. So like when you will go to mail a bill, you can click the button to verify the address. And that would, I'm not a lawyer, but seems like that would be the terms and conditions of would be okay. So you just go to the website and you can like sign up, you fill out some information about your organization, and then submit it. So I need to maybe try to see if I can be testing it from our test server, because I think on the application you say like what's the website you're going to be making these requests from. It's not like an IP based thing. They use, I think, the origin of where the request's coming from on a website as a way of, I think they do allow some limited testing on localhost because it does work sometimes, but sometimes it stops working.
That's really cool. It'd be awesome to verify addresses. It would be awesome if nobody ever spelled a city name wrong.
And I can, let me just paste, I can paste this code in the chat, I guess, but I'll just take out a couple things so you can. It still needs some work, so I don't really want to share it so widely, but if you wanted to try it out, can.
I'm fine with you perfecting it before I steal it.
Maybe somebody might have some good ideas of how it should, well,
That's true too.
how the code should be written. uh, Here it is. Here it is. I don't know if it, I don't think it's gonna fit in the chat. But it's not that terribly long. It's like 100 lines.
You can, yeah, pastebin. You can also drop it in a pastebin that translates. So when I post the videos to YouTube, it hates brackets in the chat because we usually put the chat with it. So a pastebin link is YouTube friendlier anyways.
Okay. Oh, we'll just make sure. Yep. Okay. How do you use this? You just click paste. Okay.
While Brendan's working on that, is there anything else anybody had to talk about today? We got about 5 minutes left in the hour.
Here you go.
Excellent.
That'll
I'm
at least
definitely
give
gonna
you
play with that.
the idea. Really, the hardest part was to figure out how to, I hadn't done anything like using XML. Like the responses come in XML, but it actually kind of works good because it's like jQuery works good with XML, I guess. Like it's very similar if you're used to writing jQuery. It was
Cool.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's something I've thought Koha should have for a long time, and it's
It seems like a good potential plugin, I would say. Like if you could build a plugin around it where people just had to put in their API key or whatever to enable it.
yeah. Yeah, because that's the pretty much is the other thing why this is not really production ready, obviously, is because it's coded right into the internet user JS. But ideally like you need to have the credentials like stored on the back end and not accessible.
Right, because if I went to your staff client page, I could just inspect your page source and see your credentials because the internet user JS is all right there.
Yeah. So I only like developed it locally. I haven't put it in any servers. So that's my disclaimer, everybody.
Smart move.
This would be a perfect thing for a plugin.
So with a plugin, because I was looking at how to develop a plugin. With a plugin, you basically you say like you declare what you're adding a database field or something. You're adding a table or something.
Yeah,
Or
you
maybe
probably adding your own table. In this case, it would be like a very simple table, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
just storing that key or whatever you have there. And then most of your JS could just be reused in a hook to add it to the intranet side of things. There's a list of plugin hooks.
Yeah, I didn't get that far on the plugin side. So I was if you run koha testing Docker with the plugin flag, then I could see like the files that are loaded in there. You have to edit a koha configuration file to tell it the path of where you're putting the plugin. That part, it was a little bit I couldn't really get it to work.
When I'm developing plugins, I will just find the koha plugin folder, var lib koha dev plugin, replace it with your cloned plugin, like get clone, whatever my plugin is. If you're going to start working on a plugin, you can take the kitchen sink plugin and clone it there and use the
so
bits.
You clone it right inside the shell, inside the Docker shell.
Yes. Can I share my screen real quick before we run out of time? So is that the right screen? Can we see a terminal?
Yep.
Oh, I can't do, I don't have a koha testing Docker up right now.
I sort of understand. I know that it's like it's you go up out of the folder that you land on when you go to the shell. You got to go up and
Yeah, it's
the-
going to be var lib koha instance name
Yeah.
plugins. And there will be a folder called plugins, even if you have no plugins. And then I will remove that, git clone, kitchen sink, rename it plugins, check the permissions. And then koha also has like a Perl script called install plugins,
Yeah,
or something to that. And if you run that, then you go, look, your plugin will be in the plugin. You can use the plugin like you would on any other site.
Yeah. Okay. I think I was close to doing that. I ran the Perl file like install plugins.
Mhm.
But I forget what it was. I was getting one thing where it wasn't finding the code, like the path was messed up somehow.
If you just do it the way I said, then you don't have to mess with your koha conf and tell it that
Okay.
your plugin's somewhere else, because it's in the default place where plugins go for the koha conf.
Okay, I'll give it another shot. Thank you.
Kitchen sink's the best one to start with because it has all the hooks.
I'd love like a kindergartner level tutorial of how to make a plugin from beginning to end someday. Like something that walks me through the steps with coloring pages.
Be a great conference presentation.
All right, so on that note, I think we've exhausted each other and ourselves, right? And all the topics. So we will go ahead and wrap up for today and pick it up again in January. Sound good? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Happy
Bye.
holidays or whatever.
Thanks.
Whatever you
Happy
call it
holidays.
in your area.